What's up, YouTube? The Upstate Prepper here, coming at you live from upstate Western New York, where it is currently snowing the day before Mother's Day. I don't know about your neck of the woods, but here in upstate Western New York, there's no such thing as global warming. That is fake news, and it does not exist. So this is the Upstate Prepper Brief. I've got a few things that I want to talk about today. A couple things that have been in the news. First, I want to say, where's the beef? Where's the beef? As always, like, share, subscribe. Help a guy out with starting his YouTube channel. YouTube doesn't like to pay a lot of money for people that are doing prepper things. So please help with the algorithms. Subscribe to the channel. I've got a couple videos out with 125 views, but yet there's only 22 subscribers. So if the other 100 people that are watching the videos, if you could just hit subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff, that'd really be appreciated. Where's the beef? First of all, let's get into the numbers, and these are as of yesterday. Now, we all know that the numbers are not accurate. There's no disputing that information. But I don't have any data to support all that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to quote what the official numbers are here in the United States. So, U.S. cases of cerveza bug. There are 1.287 million cases. That's how many there's been. 995,000 are still active. 215,000 have recovered, and there has been 77,000 deaths. So 283,000 have been resolved, one way or the other, whether a person has been recovered or whether they have passed away. One of the interesting numbers that really doesn't get talked about a lot of it gets focused on what the mortality rate is with the cerveza bug. But one thing that I don't see anybody talking about is the percentage of resolved cases that are ending up in death. So we had 283,000 cases that have been resolved, 995,000 that are still active. Out of the 283,000 that are resolved, 77,000 have resulted in deaths. That gives a 37% resolved in death rate. That's per the official numbers. Like I said, we know these numbers are not completely accurate, but these are the numbers we have, so these are the numbers we're going to go with. Even with some of these cases being inflated, as far as how people are passing away, even if you were to drop that down to 20% resolving in death, that's still a lot of people, and that's still an unacceptable number. Currently, Nebraska has the least new cases being reported. Minnesota has the most new cases being reported. And Michigan is boasting a whopping 9% death rate. That's right, I said 9% death rate. If I lived in Michigan, I would move immediately. If you live in Michigan, now is the time to start digging a hole in your backyard, sticking something down in there and climbing in that hole and staying there until this thing is over with, because at a 9% death rate in Michigan, that's the last place you want to be living. So with everything that's going on, what's the Upstate Prepper tracking? Well, the Upstate Prepper is looking at a couple of things. Economic crisis. That's the first thing that the Upstate Prepper is looking at. The second thing is food shortages. And the last is civil unrest. People behaving badly. Economic crisis, food shortages, civil unrest. These are my metrics as to what I'm watching for to really give a gauge as to how the SHTF is impacting and how close we are to it. We are in SHTF right now. I would call it an SHTF light. We're not in SHTF heavy. We are in SHTF light. That can easily move to an SHTF heavy in the future. A couple other things that I'm looking at that go along with these three metrics are political tyranny and political shenaniganry, governments behaving badly, and Whiskey Alpha Romeo. These are a couple other things that I'm looking at and keeping a very close eye on and for. As of right now, economic crisis. There's not a lot of isms that I like. I really don't like isms that start with the word social or commune. I don't like those isms. In fact, I don't like them at all. $6 trillion in the last couple of months has been added to the national debt thanks to Cerveza-Bug. Wow. So far we've got bank bailouts. I don't like those. Wall Street bailouts. I don't like those at all. Corporate bailouts. I'm not too fond of those either. And the reason I'm not too fond of corporate bailouts is because they have this crazy little thing they do where they take the money that comes from you and I, that our beloved government gives to them, and they buy their own stock back. And they drive the price of their stock up to recover the stock prices. Then, after they have successfully driven the stock prices back up, then all of a sudden, all of your shareholders are really happy. The company's really happy. The people at the very, very tip top get huge bonuses for driving that stock back up to where it ought to be, maybe even making it a little more than where it was to begin with. That's bad. That's wrong. I did not authorize these corporate bigwigs to take my money and put it straight into their pocket. I'm not a big fan of that at all. That being said, we have had a personal bailout way back when, 2 months ago, 8 weeks ago. 8 weeks ago. Just shy of 8 weeks ago. The information that was given to us is we're going to need to shelter in place for 2 weeks. 2 weeks of staying home, no going to work, and here's $1,200. 7 weeks ago, okay, we can sit home for 2 weeks. We can shelter in place. We can let this thing kind of pass, and I'll take the $1,200 to cover me for the 2 weeks that I'm not going to get paid. Well, here we are almost 8 weeks later, and we're still sheltering in place. We're still social distancing. We are still having to put on a mask, at least in good old New York State. Anywhere that you do go, you need to have a mask on in order to go in. Heaven forbid you cough anywhere. You cough and you have 32 people turn their heads and look at you. that person just coughed and immediately evacuate the area. Now, for me, that doesn't bother me too much because I don't like people very much to be close to me, so I don't mind a whole lot if they get away from me. But it's kind of interesting, kind of funny in a not so funny way. Heaven forbid you cough. So where are we at now? Well. The Congress, they're talking about the Emergency Money for the People Act. $2,000 per adult, $4,000 for a married couple with a $500 kicker for dependents up to 3, giving you a total of $5,500, which they would like to give the American people every month, at least for the end of the year. Now we have actually a draft, something in writing in the Senate, the Senior Senators Act. I don't remember the rest of the name of the act, but it's the Senior Senators Act, sponsored by the Democrat, who's not a Democrat, Bernie Sanders. Kind of funny that Bernie Sanders is a self-proclaimed socialist, but yet he runs for president on the Democratic Party line. Interesting. Why doesn't he run for president on the American Socialist Party line? No, he runs on the Democratic Party line. Very interesting. Kamala Harris, she is a sponsor of this bill, and there's one or two other Democrat senators that are sponsoring this bill. That bill is supposed to give us a little bit even more money than the what's being talked about in the House of Representatives. Now, what do you suppose the chances of this getting passed are? They're talking that they want to $6,000 for a married couple with 3 kids per month for the next year. And then $1,000 per month. Well, I'm sorry, $6,000 for the duration of the crisis, however long that happens to be. And then $1,000 a month after the crisis is over for 12 months, just to help everyone get back on their feet again. Well, political shenaniganry. There is no chance that this is going to get passed. Nothing this large is ever have any hope of being passed. But yet, they're going to turn it into a bill, and they're going to use politics. This bill is for politics. This bill is to not see the T-Man reelected in November. And by the way, no. Voting by mail? No. We've already seen how that kind of stuff goes. The same county in Florida, the last 2 elections in a row, the same county, all of a sudden finds absentee ballots on the whole other side of the state, in some basement somewhere of some county warehouse on the other side of Florida. How does that happen? No, there's no voting by mail. Just say no. Economic crisis, food shortages, civil unrest. So eventually, here we are, 33 million people on unemployment as of right now. The number was about 3 million when all this began. We're now at 33 million people claiming unemployment benefits. And we have tens of thousands of people maybe 100,000 people. I don't even know the number. Tens and tens of thousands of people who, here we are 7.5 weeks later, and they still haven't even registered for unemployment because they can't get on the site to even complete the online information to be registered. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. These people, they got their $1,200, maybe. I know plenty of people that haven't gotten anything as of yet. And here we are almost 8 weeks later with nothing, not a penny. Foreclosures are coming. Evictions will come. Repossessions will come. These things are coming. When are they coming? I'm not really sure. I don't know. It all depends on what they do with these bills, if they go anywhere, exactly how that all works out in the political realm of things. But they are coming. Foreclosures, evictions, and repossessions. These people are going to start losing anything. So I say, well, we've added $6 trillion in debt so far to an already $23 trillion federal debt that has absolutely no hope of ever being paid ever. Well, you might as well add another 3 or 4 and throw this money at the American people, because quite frankly, they're going to need it. They are going to need it, or else people are going to lose their homes by the bushels load. People are going to be thrown out of their apartments by the barrels. People are going to have their cars repossessed. It's all going to happen. You might as well just add 3 trillion more and send this money to the American people, because we're going to need it. And that, coming from me, to say something like that is a really, really big deal. Really big deal. I hope you're enjoying the Upstate Prepper Brief so far. I'm going to try to do this at least a couple times a week and see how this goes. Economic crisis, food shortages, civil unrest. Where's the beef? Seems that we have a shortage of beef. We don't really have a shortage of beef. There's lots of cows. There's lots of pigs. There's lots of chickens. However, we are killing the chickens at this point. We are killing the cows, and we are killing the pigs. Farmers are being instructed to terminate these animals. They are plowing crops into the ground. What we have is a shortage of processing plants. That's what we have. Processing plants are closing all over the country. It's not that we're short on beef or food. It's the processing plants are not open in order to take care of this stuff. And as far as the ranchers are concerned, they do not have the money to keep feeding the cows. That's why they're going to kill them, and why they are starting to kill them. Same with the pork, same with the chickens. They can't feed them, and there's no processing plant to take them to, and because there's no restaurants open, the amount that is being purchased is next to nothing compared to what it normally is. Food shortages. Wendy's, Taco Bell are both saying they have a beef shortage and are taking items off the menu, hamburgers off of the menu, many of the selections, because they don't have enough beef to supply the demand. Where's the beef? Somewhere there's a joke in this. Wendy's doesn't have the hamburger to supply the demand. I know there's a joke in this somewhere. So they're reducing the menus. Producers, like I said, are plowing the crops in. What I want to know is why these crops are not going to the food banks. People going to the food banks has increased exponentially. The numbers of people that are going to the local food banks has gone up dramatically. Why is this food not going to the food banks? Food shortages. Last month in April, I decided, well, I am going to get some beef, and I'm going to get some pork, and I'm going to get some chicken, and I'm going to buy it wholesale. I need to get a bigger freezer because I don't have enough freezer space in my house currently to supply what I want to buy, to house what I want to buy. So I called Lowe's, and this is in April, and they said that you can't buy a freezer at Lowe's. There are no freezers to buy at Lowe's. You have to order them online. Okay. So when will it come in? The middle of July. April, May, June, July. 3 months backlog on freezers. Are this many people buying freezers that all of a sudden you can't get a freezer for 3 months? Well, needless to say, I did find a freezer. I found it at Best Buy. After it got here, I happened to be looking through everything and found it was made in China. I wasn't happy about that, but I am glad that I got the freezer. So I've got a half a pig coming, and I've got a quarter side of beef. And my recommendation to you is to get with your family, get with your friends, and start putting in an order. Somewhere near you is a local beef processing warehouse. I found mine a couple towns away. You can, for about $1,200, buy a half a cow. This is approximate figures. You can, for about $200, buy a pig and have a pig butchered. So for about $1,400, you can buy an entire pig butchered and a half a side of beef. So obviously it's about $2,400 for a whole side of beef, the entire cow. Get with your friends, get with your family, start pooling your money, and get your orders in. Or else you're going to be going to your local grocery store and you're going to be being restricted on how much meat you can buy, and the selection will not be what you're accustomed to seeing. Why? Why? Well, because the media and the people are going to force a food shortage to happen. You start talking food shortage, there's going to be a run on this stuff at your supermarket, and a food shortage will be created out of nothing. We're talking toilet paper 2.0. There was no shortage of toilet paper. People created a shortage of toilet paper because everybody and their brother started running for toilet paper when they didn't need to. Well, the same thing's going to happen with your beef, your poultry, and your pork. Food shortages. Civil unrest. In Dallas, Texas, a hair salon owner, the hair salon, the name was Salon a la Mode. The owner, Shelley Luther, was refused to obey the closure order and was arrested and sentenced to 7 days in jail. She was also given a $7,000 fine. After 2 days in jail, she was allowed to post bond. She was not simply released, she posted bond. and was released out of jail that way after 2 days. Since then, Texas Governor Greg Abbott is saying that there will be no jail for business owners that are refusing the orders. And in fact, she was released yesterday. She was released yesterday on Friday. As of today, some salons and some barber shops are being allowed to open as long as they follow the guidelines. So what was the point in sending her to jail? And by the way, she still has to pay the $7,000 fine, even though in less than a week, barbershops and salons are beginning to open in Texas. Civil unrest. Ventura County, California, health department official, I forget his first name, but his last name was Levin, under the guise of contact tracing, has said, hey folks, we are going to contact trace people who are shown to be positive for the cerveza bug, and backtrack finding, which obviously has been going on anyways, finding the people that they've been in contact with so that they can be tested also. No news there. The news comes in that Mr. Levin has stated that in Ventura County and soon the rest of California and coming to a neighborhood near you, that people will start being forcibly removed from their homes. If they determine that they cannot properly quarantine and place in their own home, they will remove them. If someone in the home has shown to be positive and there's only one bathroom in the house, that person will be removed from the home because they need their own bathroom. There can't be a shared bathroom. If someone is determined to be high risk in the home, that infected person will be removed from the home. Or if someone refuses to quarantine in place, then they will be removed from the home and taken to some other form of housing. Gavin Newsom, governor of California, said, quote, California is not going back to normal until we have a vaccine, unquote. Civil unrest. Economic crisis, food shortages. Economic crisis, which leads to food shortages, which in turn leads to civil unrest. In other news, Kim Jong-un. Well, I said that good. Kim Jong-un. It's almost like I speak Korean. Where is he? Is he alive? Is he dead? Is he in a bunker somewhere? Recently, some pictures have shown up of a ribbon cutting ceremony he supposedly attended. The only problem with is the pictures really don't match him. The haircut's the same. He's got a round face. But beyond that, it really doesn't look like the same person. The earlobes are different. His smile is different. The way his eyes crinkle up when he smiles, that was different too. Even part of the shape of the nose didn't seem to match up to authentic, true pictures of Kim Jong-un. What is going on in North Korea? Can it be that China has determined he's been a little bit too friendly with the T-Man? I don't know. We'll be finding out. In Venezuela, we've had a Bay of Pigs event in Venezuela. Jordan Goudreau of the Silver Corporation, Silver Corp, kind of like a mercenary type of business, along with 300 very hungry Venezuelans, attempted a coup. Of course,